I am.
Okay, so let's get into it. So, what's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name's Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, doing movie reviews with my beautiful wife. What's up, AKDI?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Listen,
Okay, wait, wait, wait. Let me
go
let me
ahead.
say something before we start.
Let's give some order here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
well, I'm just first of all, I'm kind of sorry. I mean, overall, I guess this was like an entertaining movie, but it was also like super weird. So
hmm
I'm sorry for picking it. It's not like I don't feel it's like a movie that you might review in a movie review channel. It's not
We're
like
gonna watch everything. Everything gets reviewed. Everything gets
okay,
talked about because everything can be content and anything can be an interesting discussion. You never know what people will find interesting.
okay.
So I think that's also like the idea behind this movie, Bottoms, that we just watched. So we just got finished watching this 2023 comedy movie because people said we don't review comedies, so we're jumping all over the place. Yesterday we did Trading Places, 1983. Now we're doing Bottoms, 2023. So yeah, do you want to? Let's just talk about how we felt about it. We just finished watching it. What's your like take on everything?
Um, well, I'm a bit surprised because when I first like saw the movie, like the poster and everything, and I read like a couple of comments, I thought this was gonna be like a comedy, cute coming of age movie, and it was definitely not that. Um, I don't know how to feel about the overall plot, and I did think
hmm
some of the conversation was like weak. Like some of the dialogues were like kind of too long, extended, and like not really like interesting. But I
hmm
think there are like some interesting things that you can like kind of deep dig in and I don't know talk about.
hmm
So I don't know.
hmm
Overall, I'm feeling like okay, this was kind of silly.
Right. Okay, so after watching it, I had the genuine feeling of what the fuck did I just watch? And that's very hard to do to me or make me feel because I feel like I've watched so many weird movies and just consumed a lot of media. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what am I supposed to be getting from this? What am I supposed to be seeing? What were they trying to tell me? Uh, I felt very weird, very
Yeah,
strange.
same. Because it's like I was like, okay, is this a feminist movie? Okay, is this like a I don't know. And then it sort of got like violent, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is not a feminist movie. And I don't know. It was just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's just do a little background. So, this movie has a cast and a squad behind it that's very young. If you look at who made this movie, it was directed by a girl named Emma Seligman, and it was co-written by this other girl named Rachel Sennott. And Rachel Sennott plays like the white gay girl who's one of the main characters in this movie. And the other cast members are like Edebiri, she's in The Bear, she's a black girl in The Bear. And then all the other actresses and actors here are all under 30 years old, except Marshawn Lynch, the legendary football player. And I thought that was cool to see a movie made by so many young people because you know what, we got to give it up to the next generation. No matter what they make, we're going to be consuming what Gen Z makes. And I feel like I watched my very first Gen Z movie. Like we're moving out of millennials, and now the other group of young
Mm.
people are coming up. People born in 1995, 96. Some people on this list were born in 2000. So maybe their sense of humor, maybe what they find funny, maybe what they find interesting, might be totally different than me. And I got to like catch up to speed because I don't want to be that old man that can't laugh at the new stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, okay. I hope this is a good first impression. I mean, like
Mm,
talking about myself, I did also consume like a lot of, millennial made comedy movies because yeah, like early 2000s, we had like pretty good comedy movies, I feel like. And then also
right.
before,
Easy
yeah.
A. Easy A, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Hmm.
You got any favorites?
I mean, we were just talking about, you said like Hangover. That was one of the biggest franchises.
Yeah, Hangover, Bridesmaids,
Yeah. I love Girls Trip.
Girls
Yeah.
Trip.
And yeah, like
Yeah.
Tiffany Haddish's movies and stuff like that. I don't know. They're all cool.
Mm-hmm. Interesting to see something with so many young people. So I'm always gonna, give a shout out to the youth. The youth dem. The world is yours.
Okay.
So, all right, let's get into the story. So the story is about two girls, PJ and Rosie. I forgot which one's the black one.
Uh,
PJ
I don't
or
think
Josie?
Josie is the black girl and PJ is the white girl.
Okay, so basically they're like two horny teenage high school lesbians who are, starting like their senior year or something like that, and they have a crush on two very hot girls. And the beginning of the movie starts with PJ and Josie like just complaining about their sex life or their lack of sex and how they're still virgins. Josie is like, saying that she's going to go to college next year and be the only virgin, and PJ is trying to encourage her, like, you can do it. How about you just go talk to the girl you like and stuff like that? Am I getting it right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And so yeah, they go to school, like the school fair or something at night, and they meet up with this other girl who I forgot her name. The name of the other girl who pops up in the middle. She's like eating cotton candy or something like
Yeah.
that.
1 second. That was so Hazel.
Hazel, yeah. Okay, so they meet this other girl named Hazel, who's like a tag along friend of theirs, and PJ and Josie feel like they don't fit in at the school because they're gay, and people don't like them not because they're gay, but because they're gay and untalented. They're unfunny, like they're losers, right?
Yeah.
Which is very like similar to like other movies that have this theme, like Superbad, right? Superbad is about two losers who are trying to lose their virginity and stuff like
Yeah. I mean,
that.
it's a classic. Like it's a classic storyline.
hmm I realize now while talking about this movie that it is satire. Like the whole movie is supposed to satirize like the genre of the high school virgin losers who come back and overcome, like
Mhm.
Revenge of the Nerds, Breakfast Club, that sort of stuff. They're trying to do satire for that, but I feel like the satire didn't click until sort of the end of the movie. It's like it would be better if you knew that this movie was making fun of like the other ones
Mhm.
before you click it, or before like in the first 5 minutes. Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like I felt like it was taking itself seriously. Like you have to seriously believe these two, virgin lesbians are really bent out of shape about not getting any cooch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I guess they could have made that kind of like a bit more obvious. Maybe some jokes referencing to like some other classic movies that has this idea.
Hmm.
That would have made it more clear because yeah, like it starts off like a kind of like an innocent, virgins trying to get laid in high school story vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And first and foremost, like if you're gonna have a high school coming of age, virgins want to get laid, you need a fat character. You need a fat funny friend. It was all missing. Like Jonah Hill should have definitely been in this movie just in drag. That
Wow.
would have carried it. That would have carried
Okay,
it.
we don't need Jonah Hill and everything, and plus, I think he's thin now.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight. That's why he's not funny no more. That's why we didn't like what's that movie he made with Eddie Murphy?
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so PJ and Josie see the two hot girls that they have a crush on, and they're trying to like hit on them and stuff like that, but they're not feeling it. And the girl that Josie really likes is dating the high school football superstar, the quarterback guy. And yeah, Josie and PJ leave the party, and they're really upset that they're gonna divergence and stuff like that. But then the girl that Josie likes, I forgot her name. What's her name?
Isabel.
Yeah, Isabel is like walking in the parking lot behind them, being chased by her boyfriend because she thinks that her boyfriend is like cheating on her with one of the like older adults there. And that actually was kind of funny though, because the quarterback says, it's not cheating if she's older. I thought that was a bit funny because it's like a reference to like how so many high school boys, sleep with their teachers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I thought that was kind of
Yeah, I
funny.
thought like overall the opening like dialogues were funny, like the ones they had in the first scene with Josie and PJ in their room, and then yeah, like um, I thought the jokes were funny in the beginning. Yeah,
Yeah, in the beginning, I was like buying into the movie. I didn't know where it was going to take me, but I was buying into it because I kind of like these stories. I mean, everybody can relate to like high school in between stage where you're like still awkward and ugly, and you're going to become an adult slowly, and you have your friends, your clique, all that.
yeah,
Like that, everybody feels that. Don't you get what I'm
yeah. Of
saying?
course, like you suddenly like develop an interest towards the other sex, and like you don't know how to approach. You don't know what game is. You don't know how to flirt, or I don't know, like how to do the dating thing and whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and at least in America, there is a lot of pressure on kids to like have sex, like to lose that virginity, and it's not coming from adults specifically, but it's coming like from your peers,
Yeah.
and so that's like a thing that I think a lot of people can relate to. In Turkey, what's that like? Is there that high school peer pressure to like lose your virginity?
No, not at all. It's the opposite, I would say, in Turkey. Like the thing is, like, you're teenagers, so you still like experience some sexual stuff in high school, but there's definitely like I would say more pressure to not lose your virginity overall.
What about like maybe peer pressure to like do stuff like anal or blowjobs, hand jobs, that sort of stuff?
No, no. I mean, maybe like dating, like, you would, I feel like maybe you would be like the cool person if you're dating with somebody, but I don't think there's any pressure to do anything like sexual, really. Or at
Mm,
least there wasn't in like my time when I was
right,
going, to high school and stuff like that. And but yeah,
right.
like definitely also like in my high school, it was like an American high school, and definitely like all the students were drinking and hooking up and all of that. Like that was happening, but
Mm.
yeah.
Okay, but so it might have been an exception in your high school, but not in the general society. That's not common.
I would say it's still common, but there's just like no pressure around like sexuality, I would say.
I see.
There's the opposite, like,
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think in America we had sex way too early.
it's
But jumping past that, what's her name? The girl that Josie has a crush on.
Isabel.
Isabel is like running away from her boyfriend, and Josie and PJ say, "Get in the car. Come. Do you want a safety ride?" Stuff
Yeah.
like that. And it was, I thought that was funny because it was like in this movie, a lot of the comedy is when people say stuff that's explicitly like why we say things. You get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So that was cool. The football player guy stands in front of the car and tells his girlfriend, "Get out the car right now!" Like a real abuser. And Josie drives the car 1 inch and like literally taps the dude's knees, and he falls down. And his football buddies all circle around him. And then Josie backs away, speeds off. Isabel gets out the car and walks away, and the football players all scream to the sky, "Why did you do this? Why?" or something like that. And I was like, okay, this is strange. That's the part of the movie where I was like, okay, what is happening?
I mean, they kind of like, I guess they kind of nailed the parody of the jock and like his
Hmm.
crew because they were like
Hmm.
so overly dramatic and so like dumb at the same time, and all they cared about was like football and whatnot. So they kind of made it like super obvious for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the entire time, all the football players wear their pads and their jerseys in school, like full football gear, except without the helmets, all throughout the school. And I was like, "What? What's happening?" Because that's not normal. It's not normal. But once again, even with that little thing, it still didn't feel like satire or a parody.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it, you know?
It was like, I don't know, it was somewhere between like, for me at that time in the movie, I was like, I was still thinking, okay, is this a nice movie or is this going to be just like really cringe?
Yeah.
I was between that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And I didn't cringe during the movie. There wasn't a part that I cringed, but there were parts where I was just like, I feel like they could have nailed this better. They could have nailed it better. Dialogue in the movie was on point, in my opinion. You said that some of the dialogue was weird,
Actually,
but I
like,
like,
okay, let me be specific. I didn't like the dialogue between Josie and Isabel because
okay,
they were
like
like,
anytime they flirted and stuff like that.
yeah, like they were just always mumbling and kind of saying the same lines over and over again every time they talked, I feel like.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the other
they didn't
dialogue
really.
was cool. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, I guess you could say they didn't really nail that tension between
Hmm.
Josie and Isabel,
Yeah,
and like that romantic attention suspense that was building between them. But I feel like a little bit like that represents sort of like the awkwardness of what it's like to be a teen trying to talk to the girl or guy that you really like.
I
A
guess.
little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the football player is like really hurt because his knee got tapped by the front bumper of a car. And Josie and PJ go to school the next day, and everybody's scared of them because they heard around town that they really messed up this football player and hurt him badly. And
And also Hazel like spreads this rumor because she misunderstands and she says like PJ and Josie have been to juvie during the summer or something.
yeah, he spreads a rumor that they are like convicted lesbian criminals who were in Orange is the New Black season 6, and they had murdered somebody behind bars and all sorts of stuff. And they go to class, and their teacher is Marshawn Lynch, which is just funny as hell. But I feel a little bit like, sometimes these comedy movies like to put in a character who's obviously not the character that they say they are. Sort of like John Cena in, I think, Bridesmaids.
Hmm.
John Cena was in Bridesmaids, or like not Jason Momoa, John Batista in like anything comedic he does.
Hmm.
Like they just throw in people that look crazy for the part. Like Marshawn Lynch could not be anybody's high school anything teacher.
Okay, yeah. Or like Samuel L. Jackson in any new movie where he makes a cameo.
Yeah, yeah, like Samuel L. Jackson as the plumber. Like I don't know, Samuel L. Jackson as like your dentist. Well, your motherfucking teeth are motherfucking shining. you know,
Yeah.
Will Smith as the nerd who can't get pussy.
Wow.
Though then
I
again,
can see
knowing
that.
what we, huh?
I can see that honestly.
You can actually, I know as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, you know what, that actually could be Will right now.
I mean, it's happening right now to him.
Right, Tupac in a movie as a world renowned physicist.
Wow. Don't say that. You could be that. Anyway, but I don't know.
Cillian Murphy as Biggie Smalls.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely insane.
His name is Cillian Murphy, right? I got it
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah, you got it right.
Anyway, continue with the story because I'm gonna be stuck on jokes.
Okay. Well, yeah, so everyone is kind of scared of them and then the football player kind of like threatens her, the Josie. And yeah, after that what happens? There's an announcement from the speakers and some girl was attacked by like the opposition football team's player or something. And then everyone is like, oh, like we're gonna get like beat up by the other team because there's like this long feud going on between the two teams. And then also the principal like calls for the two girls to come to his room, right? Am I
Mhm.
skipping anything?
Right, right. No, like the whole movie is built around like this high school's football team is going up against another team from another school called Huntington, and they play a game together every 20 years. And this is a really big match. And the school really wants to win this match, and they feel like they can because they have the biggest, strongest, quarterback that this town has ever seen. So they say.
Mhm.
And but yeah, apparently the other team is like beating up people, what, and like slapping girls and stuff. That was weird. So
Yeah.
yeah, they get called into the principal's office, and the principal is pissed because he really wants the team to win, and he's calling. What I liked about the movie is that they didn't be like politically correct with like the gay jokes because the
Yeah.
the principal was like, I don't care what you carpet munchers do for the rest of the semester, just leave my football players alone.
Yeah, it
what did
was.
what did you think of that?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess like when they first say like, "Oh, they don't hate us because we're gay. They just hate us because we're gay, untalented, and ugly." You kind of get that it's not going to be about like, oh, like it's not going to be about lesbianism or anything. It's not like a fight against them being gay, but it's more about just like being a loser in high school. And yeah, that was like you said before, like you can make jokes about anything, and I felt like those jokes kind of nailed. Not to like hate on lesbians or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And I thought that was interesting because we had this conversation about Trading Places the other day, right? And in
yeah,
Trading Places, there's a lot of like racist humor and stuff like that, and some homophobia in there as well. But in this movie, like they're engaging in the same thing, but for some reason, it doesn't feel as, how can I say, like bad or as malicious as like in Trading Places when Morty says, "I don't want niggers running this company" or something like that.
yeah. And
But
also like it was also weird when like the first scene, the football player comes out, the popular jock,
Mhm.
and you hear like people shouting like "Eat my pussy" and all that. Like I was like, what? Like this is not what usually people say in coming of age high school movies.
Yeah, exactly. Well, a little bit like in these sorts of movies, like I guess like in Superbad and like 40-Year-Old Virgin and other stuff like that, there was dialogue that was hilarious and dialogue that seemed outlandish, and that's what made it funny. Like
Mhm.
like in Hangover, right? The stuff they were saying in that movie is kind of what made it funny.
Yeah,
And just doing that in a movie, like having somebody yell "Eat my pussy" to a quarterback, doesn't let us know that this is satire. It sort of
yeah,
just lets us know we're in a raw coming of age movie, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah. So anyway,
wait,
go ahead.
before we move on though, do you think that we weren't, or I don't know, I'll speak for me. Do you think I wasn't offended by like the lesbian jokes and stuff like that because a like just the time we're in, where I laugh at this sort of stuff because usually there's no other place to laugh at it, or B, because I just don't care about like lesbians and stuff like that as much. Why do you think maybe?
I think the movie made a good like example of kind of like creating a comfortable environment to make these jokes because we know the movie is about like two lesbians
Hmm.
and like it's kind of like their shine, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, I didn't get offended either, and I didn't think like, oh, this movie is like anti-lesbian or anything,
Hmm.
or anti-gay or anything. I don't know. I guess the movie made like a comfortable environment for that.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe the jokes were good because this movie was written by two women, and I believe one of them is bi or gay. So maybe they're better than watching Trading Places, knowing it's written by two white men, and they
Hmm.
willingly put in I don't want niggers working at this company and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or I don't know, like the two main characters doesn't get offended, so I guess like the audience doesn't get offended either. At
Yeah.
least the straight ones. I don't know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I just want all those same people who are in the Trading Places letterbox comments to have that same energy for Bottoms.
Oh, we'll see.
Anyway, so moving on from the story, like the teacher, no, the principal says he's going to suspend Josie and PJ, but then they say, you know what, we're going to do something positive. Please give us a second chance. We're going to open a self defense club for girls so they don't get beat up by Huntington or other people who are dangerous in the community. And the principal says whatever, and kicks the two lesbos out of his office, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah, they start inviting girls to come to their club. They're in the school gymnasium, and they're really starting to buy into this idea that they were dangerous criminals who are locked up in juvie. So as when they go to the gym and see all the girls sitting there, they first say, "Ugh, all the ugly girls are in our group," which was funny. And then PJ goes up to the front and was like, "When I was in juvie, I had to knock them out all the time. Yeah, I was big, I was tough, all that sort of stuff." What do you think of that scene?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, like the whole, being in love with the pretty girls in school, because, like I would say the general portrayal of lesbians is like, these sort of like not feminine girls or sloppy dressing girls who are just supposed to like be with any girl because they don't care about looks as much
Hmm.
as men. They don't have the male gaze or anything like that, so they don't judge, other women because of their looks and
Hmm.
things like that. That's what the usual portrayal of lesbians are, I
Hmm.
feel like,
Hmm.
in Hollywood. And
Right.
also like just like in our societies because that's what we've been shown, right?
Hmm.
And it was interesting that, well, these two girls, they're not bad looking girls, they're just losers. And also, like, they are superficial too,
I'll just say
They're,
this though, PJ is hotter than Josie, definitely.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're not like the typical, I guess a little bit by the way they were dressing, a little bit, but PJ dressed girly sometimes. I don't know.
Hmm.
But just in general, like, they weren't like fat and ugly in the real sense, I guess.
I mean, PJ did have some pudge though. That's something I've never seen in a movie. I was like, oh wow, women can have fupas in movies. Didn't know that could exist.
Okay, that's male gaze. Skipping from that, yeah, they were also like these lesbians who were losers and who were like superficial as well because they wanted to like be with the hottest girls in school, and they
Hmm.
were like disgusted by the other girls who might be lesbians
Hmm.
as well, but they didn't really like try their chances with them at all.
Hmm.
And yeah, they were saying things like, "Oh, they're ugly" and stuff.
Yeah, I got the feeling that what's her name, Hazel. Hazel was lesbian too. I got kind of got that vibe from her, and
Hmm.
that maybe she was attracted to PJ the entire time, and that's why she was always like trying to hang out with them. No.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of get something like that towards the end, so
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, that was interesting, and also like the whole conversation with they convinced the teacher to like be their supervisor and stuff like that. That was funny as well.
Yeah, a little bit funny. So, all right. So yeah, they convinced their their gangster looking
Mr.
physics
G.
teacher. They convinced their teacher to be the sponsor of the club, and so then he comes to the club, and more girls come in and stuff like that. And also, who the two girls that they have a crush on, PJ and Josie's two crushes come as well. And yeah, they start hitting each other, and the teacher's like, "Whoa, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to cut this out." And then begins the montage. And of course, every American movie, especially a high school movie, has to have a montage. So there's like a little song playing from like I think Charlie XCX, while the girls like hit each other and do like wrestling moves and stuff like that. And I was thinking the entire time, when is somebody going to pull hair?
Wow.
Is the hair pulling going to begin? Because I was like, how are they going to deal with that?
Wow. Okay. Well, but yeah, they basically start like this high school girl fight club, and their faces are beat up, and they have bruises, and they're bleeding and stuff like that. It's not like at all soft.
Hmm.
They're like really going at each other, and they all love it. And yeah, the two girls, the losers, Josie and PJ, they start like kind of getting recognition when they walk in the hallway,
Right.
and yeah.
Can I say something? If this movie really wanted to go full on with the satire, I wish like with the Fight Club thing, like they referenced like Tyler Durden or something like that. Like
Mm,
just one or two lines, or like have somebody dress up like Brad Pitt. Like when they walk through the hall, they should have been wearing like that red tan leather jackets and stuff like that with
mm.
like scars on their face and stuff.
Yeah,
That would have
that
been
would be
cool.
good. I was thinking like there was that scene where PJ was like going off to the group and she was saying like nobody's gonna be late and all that. And then she was like, "You want to hear the rules? I'll tell you the rules." And I was hoping that she would say, "First rule is nobody tells anyone about this club" or
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like that. Then
So
I
I
would
was
have bought
waiting for
into it.
that, and then it didn't happen, and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
Now maybe they didn't do it because of like copyright, because sometimes in movies, even saying one line from another movie that can get you like copyright. But
Yeah.
fuck it, if you're gonna go all the way and do satire, like just do it all the way.
Yeah.
Don't hold back. But yeah, so their fight club starts to get popular. More girls start to come and stuff like that. But then one of the football players sees this fight club in the gymnasium, and he comes up to Josie and PJ and says, "Look, you're taking attention away from the football club and stuff like that." And this is like one of the only smart football players in the school, right? Because all the other guys are idiots. But this guy, young Obama, is trying to lead the football team to glory, and he's not going to let anything get in their way. And what happens after that?
What happens after that? Good question. I guess like after that, the girls like Josie and Isabel start getting close,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And like Isabel asks Josie to like study date or something like that, and then they go on this date, and it was like all the classics, milkshakes with straws, and
Right. But
you're
oh, we skipped a part though.
which one?
Oh, the part where Hazel comes home and finds out that her mom is sleeping with
Oh
uh,
yeah,
what's her name? Isabel's boyfriend, who is the main
Jeff.
quarterback.
Jeff.
Jeff, yeah. So Jeff, the quarterback, is sleeping with Hazel's mom. And yeah, she ends up telling PJ and Josie. And
Mhm.
PJ and Josie have dates with the two girls that they like. And yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
actually, Josie has only in the
Well,
scene.
also PJ ends up hanging out with the girl she likes too.
Yeah, later though. That's later
Okay,
in the
I thought that
movie.
was like at the same time happening. No.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So they learn that Hazel's mom is banging Jeff, and Josie go to the date with Isabel, and it's like super, kind of cliche milkshake thing. And then yeah, like Isabel is telling Josie like how she feels. She's saying like, "Oh, I love this club, and I really appreciate what you do. You're so brave and all that," and talking about like how she was in the juvie, which is a lie. And
Hmm.
then like you feel like Josie is going to tell the truth. She's going to come clean, but then she just says like, "Oh yeah, but Jeff is cheating on you
Hmm.
with Hazel's mom."
Hmm.
And yeah, like Isabel, goes crazy. And then
Hmm.
the next day, uh, yeah, they're sitting down with Josie and PJ, and they're like, "Okay, so how was your date?" And Josie says like it was really bad. And
Hmm.
then we see Isabel coming up to Jeff, and she's like fierce, and she's walking, and she's like, "Did you cheat on me?" and all that. And Jeff is like super stupid. And he's like, I'll never. I told you I never cheat on you again. I only cheated on you like with your sister 4 times. And
By
it's
the
just
way,
like,
Isabel walked in. By the way, that would have been a good moment to have like a Kill Bill scene, like a Kill
mm,
Bill sort of like if she came in like with the yellow jacket and stuff like that. That
why
would
is
have
she Asian?
been number one. Uma Thurman is not Asian, so I don't know what that says. So you're
Oh,
racist.
okay, wait, that was the girl she fought. Sorry, I
Yeah,
mixed that
wow,
up.
hella racist. Actually, caught you off guard.
Anyway, yeah, that would have been a good moment.
No.
But yeah, and then like he basically like slips something, and he says like, "Oh yeah," Hazel says, "I saw you the other day," and then Jeff says, "Shut up, like loser! I fucked your mom."
Which I thought that was funny. I thought that
Yeah,
was a funny scene.
and
And by the
Isabel,
way, by the
yeah,
way, the football players are sitting at a long table like Jesus, and behind them is the picture from Michelangelo where God is touching the hand of man. I just thought that was really like funny, like how that
yeah,
whole setup was, because the
yeah,
movie makes a lot of references to how Americans treat football like a religion, which is very true. Like high school football in my town is like a big deal. Everybody goes to the high school football games because we don't have nothing else, and like the kids don't have to study. These guys are treated like gods on campus. It's actually like really, somewhat like that, but they just dialed that up.
mm. Yeah. I mean, in that also, I don't know if you noticed, but in that painting, God was Jeff,
Oh, really? I didn't notice
and
that.
he was handing a football to the other hand.
Wow, I didn't notice that, but I didn't because it was briefly on screen, and I wish the movie sort of like let those moments linger so you could soak in the insanity of everything that was happening because it was
Mm,
so brief, in my opinion. I didn't notice it.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I can't really relate to like that sort of jocks being the popular people in
Hmm.
school because that is not a thing in Turkey. Like
Hmm.
we don't like, I mean, guys play soccer all
Hmm.
the time and stuff like that, and we do have like different football teams or basketball teams and whatever. But usually they're not like the cool kids. Like everyone, I don't know, like the cool kid is probably like the clown or like the just the cool guy of the school or something like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, like we don't have that sort of dynamic in Turkey.
Yeah,
We have like popular kids and losers and all that, but
I'll
popular
just
kids are like not related to football
Yeah,
or any sport.
I'll just say in like the movies they do dial it up a bit. They do like turn it up like how much people, separate themselves like jocks, nerds, popular kids, uncool kids, that sort
Mhm,
of stuff. But it is sort of like that, They don't walk around with their pads on all day, but they do
mhm.
wear like the Letterman jackets and stuff like that. And yeah,
Yeah.
they're more known around school. The girls choose up on them more. It's a little bit like that. The movies
Okay.
do like a good way of just highlighting it, I would say.
Okay. And okay, so now that we're talking about high school, what type of kid were you in high school?
When I was in high school, I was like more into like the music stuff because I feel like in movies they don't talk about like music kids a lot, and when they do, it's just like band geeks and like that sort of stuff. But I was like in the orchestra playing cello and stuff, and also I was like outside during lunch, like having rap battles and stuff like that, or talking to people about hip hop. And I was never like into sports and things like that, so I wouldn't go to like the games that often. I would go to like a football game every now and then, just to, like meet up with people and hang out, not even pay attention to the game.
Hmm.
So yeah, I was more like there's like that subgenre which I feel like isn't represented in movies, like the hip hop kids who are into like beats, rap, dancing, that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Uh,
you?
I don't know, like because like I said, there's not really that sort of like extinction in Turkish high schools, but I was in the band too, so I guess like that was part of like my
I
identity in
never
high
knew you were in
school.
the band.
You, yes, you did.
Oh
I
wait, you
told
went
you.
to. I know that you went to Italy, but I didn't know you played an instrument.
No, I was band as in like like a singer, song and
Oh,
player band. I don't know,
oh,
not classical music.
okay. See, that's the difference. Because when you say I was in band, I automatically think you play an instrument.
Okay, no. So like yeah, like in my high school we had like annual concerts and like concerts in between here and there, like on special days. And also we had like different shows. There was like we did musicals once a year and stuff like that. So yeah, like as a band of the school, you have to like participate in that and stuff like that. And then occasionally, like I think yeah, like one time we did international competition and stuff like that in Italy. But
Mm.
yeah, like that was part of my identity. But other than that, I was just like I had my girl clique, and yeah, I don't know, we were just regular girls, I would say. I don't know, like it was just like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my high school years, but it wasn't really all about what was happening in the school. It
Mm.
was like just combined with outside and in the school, I guess.
I mean, if you were a high school student, would you hang out with you or somebody like you?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you were cool.
Yeah, like we had this table in the cafeteria that we always used to like sit in, and it was like just by the window,
Hmm.
and we would have like the funniest conversations there with my friends.
Okay. Were you
And
gossip girling?
sometimes, but not really. Like we were usually making fun of like ourselves and just like talking about funny shit.
Okay. Were you and your clique boy crazy?
Uh, not inside the school, but yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Wait, you thought all the boys in your high school were gross, huh?
No, I mean not really, but I don't know. I just kind of never like clicked with any guy in my high school like that.
I see.
I guess I don't know.
I see. All of y'all had boyfriends from different high schools.
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know,
What's up with
but
that? Because in high school, everybody thinks the people that go to the other high school are hotter. Because at my school, we used to be like, man, the girls at Washington, oh man, the girls at Washington, oh man, they killing our hoes. We used to say that all the time, and I don't know why. I don't know why.
I mean there wasn't like a lot of high schools around us. I mean there were, but we didn't knew other high schools either. We just met people like on the street, in the pubs, or like in the restaurants and stuff like that,
Mm,
or like in the neighborhood that we were hanging out in,
yeah,
basically. Because after school we would spend like hours until like 8 or 9, until that time we would just be outside in the cafes, so everybody knew us
yeah.
in that sort of like boardwalk.
Hmm. You know
But
what's crazy?
yeah.
This conversation we're having is more interesting than this movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, was it that bad?
no, it wasn't that bad. I was just joking. But let's get back into the story. So after Isabel finds out that Jeff, her boyfriend, cheated on her with Hazel's mom, the girls all get together and plot revenge. And Hazel offers to make a bomb, and nobody believes that she'll actually do it. But the girls all go to Jeff's house at night, and he's listening to that song. Turn around, he's like doing like ballet dance and like expressionist movements in his room with the headphones on. Meanwhile, the girls are outside like TPing his house with toilet paper and throwing eggs and stuff like that. And then Hazel sets off a bomb and blows up the man's car. And this is when I should have known it was satire, but I was still like, what the hell? I don't know. What did you think of that scene?
Yeah, I was like, this is going somewhere like violent, because I'm thinking, okay, like nobody's gonna die in this movie. That's what I thought.
Hmm.
And I was thinking, okay, so nobody's gonna, get actual injury because it's a high school movie.
Yeah,
And then it's like this car gets bombed, and I'm like, okay, I think they're now actually gonna go to juvie. Like this
yeah,
is they're actually going now, and that's
yeah.
gonna be the story or something.
I think there's a lot of references to violence. I'm talking about a movie about a girl fight club. Then I'm going to say something like, I think this movie has a lot of references to violence. I sound stupid as fuck. But there's different lines in here that are very interesting. Like when Isabel is so mad after she confronts Jeff, she says, I'm going to go get a gun and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like one of the nerdy kids gets picked on by the high school football team. Like they throw the pineapple cup on him, and then he writes down in his book how to bomb the school or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like references to violence underlining the violence that we see in the girl fight club. And I think that's like some commentary a little bit about like how American society is like obsessed with violence, and maybe we let this breed in our schools, and maybe that's why we have these school shootings and all these fights that happen at school. I don't know. Maybe I'm just throwing out ideas.
Yeah, I think that could be a thing. Or also like, you know, how when we have these sorts of like movies as well, maybe it's kind of, you know, saying to young women that you have to take revenge or things like that. So maybe it was also kind of highlighting that as well.
Hmm.
Because if you think about like, I don't know, like Clueless or Mean Girls and that sort of like classic, girl movies,
Hmm.
it's always like somebody, I don't know, cheats with somebody else's boyfriend, and then they have to get revenge, and
Hmm.
then they'll reprimand or something, or then the bad guys will actually understand them.
Hmm.
But nobody actually says like, okay, either let it go or just like sit down with them and talk and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's always some sort of plot, which is
Hmm.
kind of like not really smart.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. Moving on. So after they TP the house and blow up the car. The girls go to school the next day and they think that they're going to be in big trouble or something. But actually, the football guy, young Obama, the protector of Jeff and the smartest football player, confronts PJ and Josie and says, Jeff needed a new car anyway. And he knows about that. He knows about the two girls that they didn't actually go to juvie, and he's gonna,
Hmm.
expose them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's this big assembly where the school gets together, like a pep rally and stuff like that, which is a common thing for like the football team to have. I remember going to like
I
my
mean,
pep rallies.
you skipped one part because,
Oh,
like, yeah, like they meet the girls group, the Fight Club meet again, and then they start kind of like fighting because everybody thinks like the group, like the club, is gonna, fall apart and they're gonna
hmm,
ban them from school or something.
yeah, because they're
And
terrorists.
yeah, they are. And then like, yeah, they start going at each other, and PJ says something bad to Hazel, and then Hazel like storms out sad, and then also I think, yeah, that's what happens. And then Tim, the smart young Obama guy, reaches out to Hazel and I
Mhm.
guess convinces her to like sell out on her friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a big part of the story. So the girl group falls apart because they're terrorists, and Hamas can't stay together. So there's a big pep rally, and basically it's a weird pep rally because like the girls don't dance or do anything; they just pour like water on them, and then they say football. And then the young Obama comes to the microphone and says, I want to say a shout out to the Girls Fight Club because they've been doing so much and improving so much. And he invites Hazel to come in front of the auditorium and fight the biggest, toughest football player who's been kept in a cage the entire time. And in fact, he was shown in a cage at the beginning of the movie, the first time they go into a class. And I was thinking, like, why is there a person in a cage? Did you notice that in the first scene?
No.
I noticed that the first time they went into a classroom, I was like, why is there a person in the cage? And thankfully, they explained it because that's the football player that they unleashed to fight Hazel, which is kind of a cool fight scene. But what did you think of the fight scene?
I mean, it was okay. I guess like we don't really see like men to woman fight scenes in the movies,
Hmm.
so it was nice. I always like a girl who's kicking ass, kicking a guy's ass specifically, but actually in the end she gets like
Yeah, she
beat
gets
up.
beat pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was interesting that they even let that be shown because I feel like in American movies we're very tame on certain things. Babies don't die in American movies and women don't get slapped anymore. But I mean, I'm glad this movie just decided to cross that little barrier, but still didn't let me know that this was satire. Um, the young Obama football player then exposes PJ and Josie for starting the Fight Club not because they wanted to help girls, but because they wanted to sleep with their high school crushes. And so Isabel is mad at Josie, but PJ's crush is mad at her, even though PJ's crush, was not gay. Like PJ tried to make a move on her, and she said, "I'm straight. Like you can't make me something I'm not."
Yeah.
But yeah, then we have the traditional part of the movie where everybody breaks away, sad montage, everybody's depressed, blah 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 blah. You want to jump on that?
Yeah, I thought that was like, how PJ got rejected. That was like a good part of the parody, I guess,
Hmm.
because I was thinking at that scene, like, in movies, people just like assume your sexuality and then they go for it, and for some reason, it always turns out that way,
Hmm.
especially like in high school movies or coming of age movies and
Hmm.
things like that. And I feel like, especially today, it's hard to know what people's sexuality is other than the stereotypical ones, because we have like, oh, like if it's a gay guy, then he dresses well and then he talks like a certain way, which is more feminine. Or if it's a lesbian girl, like she's going to be a bit more manly and things like that, not as feminine. But I feel like today a lot of people just look the way society think they would look as a straight person, and they're gay or they bi or whatever.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like maybe that was highlighting that part.
Hmm.
Like you can't really, there was never really a conversation between either of the characters. Are you gay? Like, Josie never asked Isabel, "Are you gay? Or are you
Hmm.
interested in girls?" And same
Hmm.
with PJ and Brittany.
Hmm.
So I thought that was just like, I think that was a hint to that maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's important too. Like you said, people assume their sexuality, and in movies, we want to see the main character that we're rooting for get the girl or guy. So it's sort of disappointing if, like, at the end of the movie, he goes for the kiss or she goes for the kiss, and the person they wanted says, "No, I'm not attracted to your gender." So yeah, I do think that was interesting. That was very innovative, I guess, because I've never seen that before in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but moving on. So the girls are all disappointed. Josie and PJ fall out briefly. They're not friends anymore, and they're eating like cold Chef Boyardee in the bleachers solo. And Josie goes to meet Gay Yoda, which is an old lesbian who lives in a trailer outside of town. And and this old butch lady tells her that you need to be careful because when Huntington comes, they're gonna kill one of the football players. And Josie's like, no, they're gonna kill him, but like beat them in the game. And then the lady's like, no, they really will kill them. They like burned a boy at the stake 40 years ago. 20 years ago, they tied a man up to horses until the horses tore him apart and stuff like that. And she's like, oh my god. And then, that's when I was like, I still didn't know what the hell was happening in this movie. You get what I'm saying? I was like, what?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I know. I was like that too. I was like, what the hell is this about now?
Yeah. And I'll just say, like, the ending scene where there's basically the big football match, and the girls all reunite. They all apologize to each other, and they try to come up with a plan to stop it. Hazel sets a bomb to a tree to try to distract people, as the other girls try to warn the football players that they need to get off of the field and run away because Huntington is going to kill them and stuff like that. Yeah, what do you want to build on that, or you want to tell the story?
Um, yeah, like you said, Hazel builds the bomb, but it fails to explode. So now they're like, okay. And then Josie like goes around the yard and she finds like a pineapple juice gallon which is empty, and the lead guy Jeff has an allergy, like deadly allergy to pineapples, and they
Hmm.
understand that they're gonna like poison him or something. And
Hmm.
so the other football team comes and then they start fighting, and it's like a deadly fight. Like literally, someone stabs another player with a sword, and the
Yeah.
guy's dead. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Because like there's a dead guy and nobody
Uh-huh.
cares.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, basically, and then they fight all the guys and the girls win, and then everyone is like looking at them from the bleachers like, what the hell did you just did? Like, why did you just like kill all the football players?
Yeah.
And then the sprinklers go off and there's pineapple juice in the sprinklers, and the guys realize that they were actually saving the football team and the main player. So
Hmm.
everybody starts like clapping for them, and yeah, that's yeah. And then I guess in the end, like Isabel and Josie kiss, and I guess they're a couple now. I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, Hazel also kissed PJ and distracted everybody while
Yeah, that was
they.
a funny scene because while they were kissing, they cut up to like this old white guy, and he says like, "Can we cut this gay crap because I want to see some like real groping, slapping football." That was really funny.
That was a good line. There were some good lines in the movie, like also when Brittany says, "I'm not gay. I just like gay porn," and then she looks at Hazel and PJ kissing and stuff. And Marshawn Lynch was funny the entire movie. I'll say, like,
Yeah,
all of his lines, were pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, there was definitely funny stuff in there. But I feel like the entire premise of the movie is like the writer and like the two main actors got together one day at the apartment, started smoking weed, and like this is what comes out, and this is what was funny to them, and then they
yeah.
just put it to paper and made a movie.
Yeah,
Like this
maybe
is.
they started thinking like, dude, like all these like high school coming of age movies are like the same and they're ridiculous.
Hmm.
And they just started talking about how ridiculous things happen in those movies, or like the
Hmm.
cliche things that happen
Hmm.
in those movies, and they just
Hmm.
build up on that.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Definitely. So yeah, the movie ends with like Hazel's bomb exploding, and the kid that wanted to like shoot up the school or blow up the school is like upset because he said that was my idea, and then that's the end, happily ever after. And yeah, overall, I got to give this movie, I would say, like a five. I'm giving it a solid five. Funny dialogue here and there. Overall, good acting. I would
Yeah.
say Ayo did her job, and the other girl, the girl who played PJ, did her job as well. And all the other people generally were good at what they did. And I also want to say one of the good scenes I think was there was a scene where the girls were like sitting in the gym and they
Mm.
were talking about let's get to know each other. And they said, "Who's ever been raped?" And then she also said, "Oh, gray zone stuff matters too." And then everybody raised their hand. I thought that was kind of cool. And
Yeah.
everybody started talking about their experiences. That was a cool scene. But other than a few scenes, dialogue, I really didn't care for this movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I guess I would also give it a 5 or like even a 4.5. Yeah, it was kind of like it didn't, like you said, it wasn't obviously a parody. And then also like, yeah, I thought some of the dialogue between like the Josie and Isabel was not just hitting. Like I get that they're uncomfortable and stuff like that, and but every time they talked, it was like they were just like too shy to have a conversation, and I was just like, just talk already, like come on. But yeah,
Yeah.
acting was really good too. Like it was solid. No acting felt cringe.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just like okay. Like I wouldn't necessarily recommend anyone to like go and watch it, but if
Hmm.
you do come across it, it's just like okay.
Yeah. I also want to say that there was also one of the girls that was in the Fight Club who was really funny. Like when she said "Yes, Queen," she sounded like a demon, like a hellspawn. She
Yeah,
said "Yes, Queen, slay." That was hilarious. That was hilarious. I don't know why that was funny.
yeah, it was funny. She was
Um,
taking it to like another level.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it for anybody, but maybe the writer is going to have a long career. I mean, this is like her second movie that she wrote and directed. So
Mhm.
shout out to her. Shout out to all the young people who are, going to be the next generation of writers, actors, producers for films. You guys have a long way to go because Bottoms is definitely not any of the millennial classics. It's not even touching the worst Will Ferrell movie. It's not even touching like Ted. So,
Okay.
Gen Z got some work to do, but keep on at it.
Yeah. Do you want me to read some of the letterbox comments?
Definitely.
Okay. I'll first read the good ones because those are the first ones. So Tyler said Rachel Sennott and Io Edebiri, which are the two main characters,
Hmm.
could do Fight Club, but Brad Pitt and Edward Norton couldn't do Bottoms.
Mm. Um, I disagree with that because they wouldn't do Bottoms.
Wow.
Brad Pitt and Edward Norton would say, "We'll pass."
I mean, if they did do Bottoms, it would be hilarious.
It wouldn't, but it would have to be. They would have to touch up more on the Fight Club satire.
Yeah. Let's see. By the way, I like the subtle hint of like the early 2000 hits in this movie because
Hmm.
you know they played Avril Lavigne's "Complicated," and that's such a like early 2000, just like you know
Hmm.
eighth grade
Hmm.
song you listen to. You don't even have a boyfriend, you never even like kissed a guy, and then you just like feel the song. It, it was such that, and it was just like hilarious that they played that song. I don't
Yeah,
know like if you can relate to that, but
yeah, the movie is sort of like in a weird place in time because you don't know what time it is. There's no social media. You don't see any like modern cell phones. One of the guys has like a flip Motorola Razor, and some of the cars look kind of old. So you're like, where does this movie happen? Is this like 2002, 2003? You know what I mean? And
mm,
yeah, it does bring that vibe.
yeah. Yeah, I just thought like some of the song choices were really good, just
Hmm.
like adding up to the satire of the
Hmm.
movie. Anyway, Reese said, if you thought Barbie was the best whimsical satire about feminism and the harms of the patriarchy, featuring music from Charlie XCX, with a massive choreographed fight scene between warring factions crafted specifically for lesbians, made in the year of our Lord 2023, well, guess again.
No, Barbie is killing this. Don't even do that. The Bottoms is not even Barbie on its worst day. What are you talking about? Who wrote
Wow.
this? Do you agree with that? Do you think Barbie was worse or Bottoms was better than Barbie?
Honestly, no, I don't think Bottoms is better than Barbie, but if I don't know, it's just like it's missing that very obvious showing us you're a satire part.
Yeah,
And I thought if it nailed that, it would have been like so much better.
yeah.
It
It took
it
itself too
has the
seriously.
potential to be better than Barbie if it nailed that, but it didn't. So
Uh, I don't think it had potential to be better than Barbie. I just think it had potential to be something totally else that we could gravitate around and talk about and have a
okay,
cultural impact.
okay. Let's see. Kyle said better bomb scene than Oppenheimer.
What? Oh, the bomb of the car and the tree and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
People are ridiculous. Whose movie takes are we listening to? Letterbox is like the Twitter of movies.
It is, and it's funny. Anyway, Clementine said Letterboxd freaking out about this because half the user base is lesbian with no riz.
That's pretty accurate. Like
I
if
mean, this has a like a what is the score? 3.9 out of 5.
yeah,
That's
definitely
like
deserve
better
that.
than Jurassic Park.
Oh hell no, hell no. Yeah, Letterbox is full of like Tumblr rejects, like people who got
Wow.
blocked, like
Okay.
people who got blocked from Pinterest because their posts were too racy.
Wow. Okay. Let's see what else we have.
They're the people on Letterbox sound like they're allies of every movement.
I mean, the Ao Edebiri, who plays
Hmm.
Josie, her
Hmm.
mom is also in Letterbox, and she left a comment
What
too.
did she say?
She said, "Bottom, starring Rachel Sennott and Ao Edebiri, is directed by Emma Seligman. It is one of the best comedy movies I have seen all year. In the interest of self-disclosure, Ao is my daughter. PJ and Josie are two lesbians who decide to start a fight club so they can attract pretty cheerleaders. With the football game against a long-term rival in the background, the comedy just keeps coming until the end. Get your popcorn ready; you will love it."
I want a mom like that.
That is kind of cool.
That's cool.
Uh,
But the thing is, like, Ao is like of Nigerian and like Barbados descent, and she grew up in like a very Christian household. So I'm wondering like how her mom is supporting her kissing girls on screen and talking about saying fuck 30 times in a movie.
mm,
But that's cool. That's cool. I'm not
yeah,
throwing shade. I'm not throwing any shade. I would really like to know like how her upbringing relates to how she is now. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Mythical Calbay said, "First rule of Fight Club: have crazy gay sex."
Okay. I don't think there was a gay scene in Fight Club.
No, there wasn't. This
Hmm.
it's okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Letterbox is pretty bad with these comments. Jesus
no.
Christ.
Let me check the low comments. What are they saying? Okay, let's see. This is extremely long. Mm, 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 mm. A total non-entity. It's astonishing how relentlessly unfunny this is. Not a single line of dialogue lands. The visual comedy is non-existent, buried in an endless barrage of amateurish medium shots. The presence of space or relation between characters annihilated by shallow focus. Has essentially nothing worthwhile to say about being a loser lesbian and the use of violence to assert oneself in a male-dominated world.
Hmm.
Bottoms joins Barbie in the canon of 2023 films that are way too nice to men. Why the hell are a
Oh
bunch of
God.
lesbian femcells leading their fight club to defend the men who have faced no consequences for their misogynistic terror?
Oh
Why
God.
why do these women need to prove anything to a bunch of idiot crybaby men? I guess I respect the film a little for taking the gonzo path, though it's neither well shot or gruesome enough. 1 star for the Avril Lavigne needle drop. That's it. See? Okay, that's it.
Wow. Okay, this person is turned up. I think thinking for with my feminist hat on, I think there is some, how can I say this, belief that women shouldn't be advocating for men, especially when a lot of the times men do patriarchy in a way that's detrimental to women. So yeah, if you think about it, in this movie, these girls are training to fight to defend their football overlords who get all the shine and glory, but abuse them and cheat on them and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
just think that feminism shouldn't be about how can I say this, forgetting. It's not about forgetting that men can sometimes be evil towards women, but it's about advocating for creating a world where women and men both get to live in it peacefully, because the girls don't want anybody to die, right? And
Yeah.
I think if you're a true feminist, you don't want to see men get abused. You just don't want women to get abused, and neither men, right? That's just my opinion, because that's my same perspective when it comes to speaking out against racism and white supremacy. I don't want to replace it with black supremacy or be indifferent when white people die or have problems. I want to make a world where we care about black life just as much as we do white life. If
Hmm.
that makes sense. Is that clear?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess like with this comment, I would say that this person got this movie serious, like took
Hmm.
it serious and not really understood that maybe it was a parody. But I do feel like, there could be jokes hinting that this is actually ridiculous,
Hmm.
which would make it, clear as a satire as well,
Hmm.
that it's ridiculous to like think like women fighting for, jocks, if
Hmm.
that was the way, that they were going for, which is fine.
Right.
Like, it could have done that. And I feel like they could be like, people can make really smart jokes about like, sexism and just like weird feminism or extreme feminism and all that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Right. I mean, the movie does have an absurd premise, but it doesn't deal with the absurdity of it in a way that makes you laugh at the entire movie. It just makes you laugh at things that happen in the movie rather than the entire idea.
Yeah.
And I want to say that, I don't think anybody should ever be made fun of because they take a movie seriously, because I believe all media is serious. Whether it's a comedy or a drama, the messages that we see and receive from media do go into our minds and influence how we interact with the world and with other pieces of art. So, yeah, that's just my opinion.
Mm. Yeah. Someone else said, I imagine this is what watching improv feels like.
Amateur hour at Cinema Town.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. Genuinely perplexing how people are eating this up. This movie is all over the place. There is a way to do random, unpredictable, and satirical comedies. This wasn't it. If you want a bad, unfunny, and wasteful use of gay themes, well, this is it. Bad acting, poor pacing, and a complete lack of theming or cohesion. Gay cinema is in the pits, and the community is here for it, I guess.
Mm.
The only reason I gave it 1 star instead of a half star is because the complicated needle drop. Okay, everyone loved the Avril song, and that's the only good thing.
Wow. What do you think about that comment?
I kind of agree. I kind of agree. I can see that. I don't hate the acting, and I did think some of the jokes were funny, so I don't hate it like to my core or anything like that.
No.
But I do agree that um, like the random, unpredictable comedy type. Like I'm thinking, oh, what was that movie called with the Brad Pitt? And I think it was directed by Tarantino. When
Once
they
Upon a
were
Time in Hollywood.
no, it's an older movie. They were bombing the theater.
Oh, Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, like when I think of like complicated, satirical, unpredictable, random comedy,
Hmm.
and I know that's not particularly a comedy movie, but I love
Hmm.
that movie, and I
Right.
feel like that should be like the minimum standard
Right.
when you're doing something like that. And yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
I know
Tarantino
maybe
is
they're like too unrelated because one of them is a high school movie and one of them is like something completely different. But
right.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, but Tarantino is just a different beast. He's
yeah,
just got his own way. It's like comparing. There's certain directors and writers that are just legendary. And like I said, everybody involved with this movie is under 30 years old, so they're gonna have
mhm,
long careers and get better. And I
yeah,
believe the girl is gonna eventually do better stuff than this. So if she's listening, if anybody from this movie is ever listening, because this is all Gen Z and they're perennially online, if you hear this, this is not a shot at you. It's just a bad movie, but you'll make plenty more.
mm. Yeah, yeah, of course. Like every I feel like every director's first movies or like the first few movies can suck, and then it eventually gets better because you learn how
Hmm.
to make a story more compelling and all that.
Right.
Let's see. Marshall Lynch is far too talented an actor to be wasting his time with material this shit.
No, he's at the exact level of skill he needs to be. This movie is exactly at his skill level. For the first
Is it?
movie I've ever seen him in, I'm glad he did something like this and not like a random hood movie where he plays like the kingpin drug dealer or something like that. I'm glad to see my brother like outside, doing something this silly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, isn't he a football player? You said.
Yeah, he was a football player. He was really
Oh.
good. I think he played for the Seahawks.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Let's
all
see.
right, well, let's wrap it up here. Thank you everybody for listening. Send more recommendations, any suggestions, like, share, comment, all that. We want to hear everything. And peace.